Welcome to the online lecture series on 8051 microcontroller. In this video tutorial, we shall see the response of 8051 when an interrupt occurs. So it's a very important theory question. So what happens when an interrupt occurs? So as I have said earlier, whatever is the response of the processor for a call instruction, the same is the response of the processor to an interrupt, except that your interrupt is asynchronous. Okay, see the diagram. So the processor has enabled some interrupt, any of those 5 interrupts, and it is executing the main program. So while it is executing the main program, at any instant of time you can get an interrupt. Okay, that's the meaning of asynchronous. Okay, so when an interrupt occurs, what does the processor do? So what the processor does is, first it saves the return address onto the stack, okay, by executing two push operations, because program counter is a 16-bit register. Okay, so it saves the return address onto the stack. Also, the processor saves current status of all interrupts internally. Okay, whatever is the status of the interrupt, it saves. Third, it fetches the ISR address from the interrupt vector table. Okay, so the interrupt vector table provides the ISR address. Suppose if the interrupt is due to timer 0. Okay, so what was the ISR address? So the ISR address is 000BH. So what happens? The processor will branch to the address 000BH for timer 0. Suppose if it is for serial, so the ISR address is 23H. So it will branch to the address 23H. So branch to the address 23H means the program counter contents are replaced by this ISR address. Okay. Now once it branches to the ISR, it executes the ISR code. Okay. And as I have told, the code in the ISR should be as small as possible. Okay, and as I have told, you should restrict, if you are using multiple interrupts, you should restrict the ISR code to 8 bytes only. Okay, if it is more than 8 bytes, it will disturb the other ISR routine. Okay, so once you execute the ISR, the last instruction, okay, it is I return. There's a mistake here, I have written it as return I, but it is I return. So return from the interrupt. So when this return instruction is executed, the processor pops the return address which it had saved earlier. Okay, and it also pops the status of the interrupts. Okay, then wherever it had left, okay, it starts executing. Okay, this space indicates the time processor has taken to execute this ISR. Okay, so the response of 8051 to the interrupt is exactly similar, except with the difference that in case of call instruction, the call instruction is in your control. You introduce the call instruction. But in case of interrupt, okay, it is asynchronous. Okay, afterward the response is same. There we call it as subroutine. Here we call it as interrupt service routine. Okay, there the subroutine address depends upon the offset, but here the ISR address is fixed. Okay, it will branch only to the ISR address which is given in the ISR interrupt vector table. Okay, and To return from the interrupt, the instruction is I return. Okay. Then the processor executes from where it had left. Okay. So this is the response of 8051 when an interrupt occurs. Thank you.